Welcome to the Spartan Sports Report, everybody, and we are happy to welcome Brent Duncan, who is Athletic Director of CHS, and he brought a couple of guests. Brent?
Yeah, happy to be back. We got a couple of our Lady Spartan gymnasts behind us. To my right is Whitney Owens, senior, and to my left is Allie Sargent, a junior on the gymnastics team.
And you young ladies begin your series of Meets when?
January 9th.
And that's a Tuesday?
Yes.
After, that's a day school resumes, well, it's the day after the school resumes on the 1st, 2nd?
7th.
7th.
Actually, we start on the 8th. 7th is a Sunday.
Oh, okay. Good deal. So you guys will be at work during your Christmas vacation?
Yep. Working hard.
Did the athletic director do that to you when he scheduled?
Long time ago. Just never know when that calendar is going to roll around. You got to think we got a swim meet on January 2nd, so they're in a better shape than those swimmers are.
That's right. That's right. We had a good basketball week. Boys had a great weekend. The girls 50-50. Sam, girls won at Union County.
Won at Muncie Central.
Muncie, okay.
Well, actually at Muncie Southside.
Muncie
Never thought
South,
I'd do a game in that gym again, but due to the tornado that hit the field house, Muncie Central's playing their games at Muncie Southside.
Okay.
But the girls looked good, came ready to play, and I thought had a great game.
What was the final score, do you remember?
You know, I don't remember. I think it was an 11-point victory.
11 or 12, right?
11 or 12.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they went to South Dearborn.
Went to South Dearborn with the girl-boy doubleheader, and their fortunes weren't as good that night. But South Dearborn, much improved team. They had a girl who just stand out there and pop threes all night long. In fact, they had several that could hit threes, and we weren't able to overcome that.
I think the girl that scored 28, I think, was averaging 9. So just one of those days. That
Sure.
Everything she shot was
She was
going
in the zone.
So.
Yeah.
Right. Boys won a couple of ball games, Brent.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
Beat South Dearborn, I think 71-46 or somewhere in that area, and then turn around and beat Sam's favorite team from the east side of the state in double overtime.
Yeah,
57-49, I believe the score was. So it was a good weekend.
8-point win.
Beat Richmond in football and basketball, both overtimes. So,
You know, and I've talked about it. The R's, we beat Rushville in football, we beat Rushville in basketball.
Right.
Now we've beaten Richmond in football and Richmond in basketball, and it's 4 basketball wins in a row against Richmond. So
right.
So it's
Who's
pretty good.
Track besides Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won.
But we saw, I think, at the bowl the other night, 2 of the premier players in the state of Indiana, in Garrett Silcott from Connersville and Christian Harvey from Richmond. Both those guys are just terrific ball players. I think Garrett had 27 and Christian had 30.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sure they'll receive some consideration when All-Star time comes.
Well, you'd like to hope so. I know
Yes.
Garrett was invited to the top 100 workout as a junior, so that's the first step in getting invited back as a senior. So hopefully he'll have a good year and get a chance to go up and showcase himself again and take a shot at getting on the team. So
we were at Spartan Bowl Saturday night for the great game over Richmond, and we'd like to show you some of the highlights right now. The game will be on TV3 later this week at night on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Who's the Spartan Warrior this year?
that's Griffin Crow.
Does a good job.
Yeah, he asked me if he could do it. So.
Well, that's where you get a volunteer, huh? Okay, early in the ball game, Garrett Silcott shooting a long one. Took a while in the replay, the ball to get there, but that was a great shot by Garrett. That's got the ball game started. That's Harvey, the guy 23, or 20 was Christian Harvey, right? Yeah,
He was a nice player, and then the coach's son, I thought, was Wedlow kid was.
That's by far their 2 main.
Yeah, he was their second leading scorer, right?
They had some nice size as well. Their Spartans up 4 at halftime.
I'm surprised they didn't throw it in a little bit more to the big guys inside.
The Clemens, and
That's not their style, so.
Yeah, number 2 was the biggest guy on the floor, Clemens. takes us toward the end of the ball game, and then we had to go into the first 4-minute.
That one went off the Richmond arm and our kid's forehead and went in. So
I know it, Duncan.
I was thinking we had it there, and
Dogly.
it went off both hands. Somebody told me it went off his forehead. So.
Yeah, you don't see that happen very often. But the other team,
look at Dalton's face.
I couldn't believe it. What did I just do? Scored 2 for Richmond.
And you can see the size advantage there. There's Smitty shooting a free throw, but he had to jump there in the overtime period against Clemens, and there he is now against Harvey. And
Right. He, that was
A couple of big defensive plays late in the game on loose balls on the floor. Dalton went to line and made 7 out of 8 free throws, which was clutch down the
right after we had a series there where we missed several.
I think the leprechaun was sitting on the basket knocking it off.
looked like it, didn't it? Thought Wes had one of his better games.
Yes, I did too.
Yeah, Wes has had a good summer and a good start to the year overall. So
Number 20 again, driving down.
The senior leadership that he shows too. And there it's all over.
It was as I told the coach after the game, we played 5 quarters tonight, a couple of 4-minute overtimes. So
you love overtimes.
Yeah.
yeah, if we could win our overtimes, we'll keep playing overtimes.
Well, we had won a lot of them until
11 out of the last 12.
Yeah.
11 out of the last 12. That's
right.
pretty good.
Our streak stopped.
Several of those multiple overtime games. That,
Exactly. 4 and 2 and 2.
That set a record of some kind?
last year it did,
Yeah, I think
for the
it
most
was
overtimes.
Most overtimes win in one season in the state.
Let's talk about the guests we have. Gymnastics underway at Connersville, and you guys' meets will be in the gym at CHS?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been in the gymnastic business?
I've been in gymnastics for 14 years, so since I was
Okay,
4 years old, so I've been in it for a long time.
great. And you?
I've been in it 13 years.
Wow.
So
A couple of
about the
veterans
same.
here.
A lot of them start when they're 4 or 5 in the gym, and they can start competing at 6, I believe, in what's called
Really?
USAG. So
Yeah.
a lot of them do it from the little kids on up. The ones who are really good will stick it out and do that all year round. It's a 365-day year sport because their bodies change so much from the time they're 6 till they're 18 that if they don't stay in the gym, the strength things it takes to do the tricks are difficult. And I'm sure they'll tell you when they start to grow, it was hard to keep their timing and everything on the bars. As having a daughter who done it, I understand how that happens. And they grow and their bodies change and their strength change. And if they don't stay in there, it makes it much more difficult. So
You guys won any championships in your career?
Sectionals.
Okay,
Well, that's a big deal.
2016, we were sectional champions. So,
good deal.
and that's our goal this year.
Good deal. What's the hardest event? You have to explain it to me. I'm not up on gymnastics, so, and what it's called and how tough is it?
It's hard.
I would say, I'm not to overstep them, but I think for each girl it's different. Some girls
okay.
are going to like different events. I would say overall, most people would say the beam is the most difficult because it's only 4 inches across the top to stay on. But then there are girls who won't do the bars, so it's all kind of a preference. They all kind of get their niche of what they like the best. So it's just up to the individual for the most part. They do all the events. So
Okay, what kind of training is required? Is there an off season? Brent said, though, it's kind of a 365-day year thing. So what do you do in the off season?
There really is no off season when it comes to
Not-
Oh,
gymnastics.
okay.
Not for high school. It's just, it starts in November and then it ends at the end of February. And if you make it to state, it's the beginning of March.
Okay.
So
Where do you go to practice? I mean, is the equipment someplace all the time, or you go to the weight room, or what happens?
We go to the Connersville Gymnastics Center.
Okay, good deal.
Your coach been doing it a long time, and probably, I would say, probably has seniority over everybody in the state. She's been very successful over the years and had a lot of good gymnasts come through the program.
yeah, I'd say she's up there in the, as I told her lovingly that she's probably going to end up passing away in her gym because that's where she spent all of her time. But she said you're probably right. But she's been doing it a long time. I can't say exactly when she started. I want to say 81, somewhere back in there. So.
Probably.
I want to say she's close to 40 years of coaching. So
That's great.
I think we've got in the top 5 number of sectional wins as a school in the state of Indiana for gymnastics squad. And of course, we have 3 state championships. And Joanna does a good job. I mean, that's what she lives for, is that gym. She's in the gym working right now with the younger kids. So
Okay.
that's why she's not here today. So.
Not all schools have gymnastics, do they?
no.
No, there's probably less than 70 in the state right now that have gymnastics. And some have a couple girls here and there. Like we have a little girl from Union County that's going to come and compete at our meets with us this year. So. But it's a dying sport overall across the state. There's actually no sectional south of Columbus, Indiana. So there's only 6 sectionals left in the state. So that tells you how many schools are left. And there's about 10 to 13 teams in each sectional. So.
The problems, the lack of coaches, or is the equipment expensive?
Equipment's very expensive.
Okay.
Liability's expensive. It's hard to say. It's just got pockets. Our corner's got a great following. The Fort Wayne area's got a big following. Up in Maryville and the region's got a big area, and Columbus is huge. But outside of that, it's just kind of sprinkled here and there.
So there's no conference that we're in?
No,
as
we
far
have no
as gym?
conference. The only other school that has any gymnasts in the conference is Rushville.
Okay.
They did have a couple girls from Brookville a couple of years ago, but right now just us in Rushville have gymnastics.
Here's the schedule for the Spartans, Lady Spartans, this year in gymnastics. They'll be opening, as we said, on January the 9th with New Palestine and Newcastle coming to Connorsville, and then they'll be on the road on the January 11th to Rushville, and on the 20th of January they'll be at Concordia Lutheran. Is that in Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne, okay. Then they'll be back home on January the 25th to Muncie Central. On the 29th, Morristown will be coming to Connorsville. On the 31st, it'll be Columbus East. And on February the 7th, it'll be Richmond coming. And there'll be an invitational on February the 10th, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning. And on the 12th of February, it'll be Shelbyville and Cambridge City Lincoln at Connorsville. Then the section will be at Connorsville on February the 24th. And it'll continue on March the 3rd in the States at Ball State University on March the 10th. So that's quite an impressive schedule.
Yeah, we happen to be lucky to have all of our home meets this year, and then we're actually going to host the regional this year as well. So
Very good.
regional's normally at Columbus East, but Columbus East is hosting the boys basketball sectional on the same day, so they didn't think they could get the floor cleaned up and ready by the championship game that night. So we're going to host the sectional, and then we're going to host the regional as well.
Okay, the Invitational coming up on February the 10th. How many schools will be coming in here? Do you have
8 schools, counting us, and
Very good.
some individuals from schools that don't have a team that'll come and participate with us as well. Noblesville, Northwestern. Did I say Noblesville? Yeah.
Yeah. Columbus North.
Columbus
usually, yeah.
North,
Okay.
Western High School by Kokomo. I know I'm missing a few. Richmond. But it's a good meet. So.
What's the average length of a meet? Girls, how long does it take to go through all the events?
It probably takes 3 to 4 hours, but for an invitational, it takes a little longer. So
I would think so.
yeah,
Right.
On the average, there's 4 events. You can count about 45 minutes per event.
yeah.
And then
Really?
they get a little warm-up time when they switch events, and then so.
What are the requirements of a judge or official or?
Well, hopefully they know a little bit of gymnastics. So they just have to take a test like everybody else.
Okay.
And just like basketball official, there's a test they take, and then they got to score so high on it to get their license. So, but most of the people that do gymnastics have probably been involved with it most of their life. So.
Okay. Are all the officials gals, or are there
Nope. There are
some men?
There are a few guys. Very
Okay.
few right now in the high school gymnastics. But if you do the USAG, which is kind of like AAU of gymnastics, there's quite a few men that do the judging in that area. So.
Interesting.
You had said that you also cheer. Has gymnastics made you a better cheerleader, or a cheerleader made you a better gymnast? Or
Well, they
Careful
both
how
kind
you
of like
answer that.
tied together. They just kind of tie together, and
so we kind of go hand in hand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Especially like floor exercise stuff would go along with things on the floor
Yeah,
at
like tumbling, basketball games. Yeah.
I would think they'll both tell you that tumbling on the wood floor is a little different than tumbling on the
it's
gym.
Oh, I'm sure.
different.
I'm sure.
It takes a little more effort to get over on the wood floor. So
No bounce there.
no.
What's that stuff you sprinkle on your hands? I have to ask you that question. I know maybe it's none of our business. I don't know.
Yeah, when you're going on the bars.
Yeah.
We put chalk on.
Chalk?
Chalk,
Yeah.
okay.
But normally we wear grips to protect our hands so we can swing around the bars. So
Is it chalk they use in the classroom, only ground up, or what?
No, it's a little
No.
different.
A
type of
different
chalk.
chalk?
Yeah, different
Okay.
chalk.
Okay. Well, that's
Takes a lot of strength in your fingers and your hands
Yeah.
to hang onto those bars when you're
Yeah.
spinning around on there.
Most of them don't know. There's a little piece of dowel rod in those grips they got on their fingers too that helps them
Oh yeah.
hang onto the bar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
How
but
many
still.
gals are on the gymnastics team this year?
I think 13.
Okay. So,
And we have we have 7 freshmen, and we have no sophomores. And then we have
3 juniors.
3 juniors and 3
seniors.
seniors.
okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That many freshmen shows interest is still there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk some more basketball and sports here. This week in sports, the CHS, it's the girls and boys basketball, Greenfield Central at Spartan Bowl and Spartan Arena. Game times are 6 and 7:30. And Brent, we might explain how that's going to work. And I understand there's been a change in one of the teams.
yeah, there's been a slight change, but the varsity girls will start at 6 o'clock in Spartan Bowl.
Okay.
JV boys will start at 6 o'clock in the Spartan Arena. Then after the varsity girls is over, obviously the varsity boys will play second game. But Greenfield Central's JV teams has 4 injuries and don't have enough to field a JV squad for tomorrow night. So I sent an email out to 75-mile radius, and Northeastern said they could come and fill in for the JV. So the JV girls will be playing Northeastern at 7:30 in Spartan Arena tomorrow.
Okay,
night,
so that's interesting. Yeah,
So-
good enough. Well, thanks for clarifying that. It'll be some more after this week. That's about it. Tuesday night, and sports is finished for a while.
Well, it's kind of good. We have finals going on this week, and so
Right, good time.
good time to be off. And then, of course, Christmas break is a little bit. There's not really much rest, but just no school. So
The schedule after this week, the boys basketball team will be in the wedding tourney at Richmond on the 27th, 28th, and 29th. The Spartans' first game will be Wednesday afternoon on the 27th at 2:30 against the Northwest Home School Warriors. And they won 14 ball games and lost 2. They don't play football, so they began their basketball in October, and they finish in February. So that's one of how the home schools work. Since
yeah, they kind of
don't
get to
have football.
schedule their own.
Right.
And they don't
They're
have-
not in the IHSAA, are they?
No, they're not a member school. No.
Right. But they've got a 14-2 record, so they must have something. Do you know anything about their?
I know nothing about them at all. Not sure who they've been playing. If they're playing other home schools or. So I just heard they had a 6'10" kid. So that Ball State might be looking at. So.
Okay. The junior varsity team will be in the Joe Spicer Memorial JV Tournament. That's also at Richmond on December the 27th and 28th. And the Spartans will be meeting the JV team from Portage in the noon game Wednesday at the Dennis Intermediate School. The Lady Spartans take part in the Rumble on the River tournament at Southwestern Hanover, December 29th and 30th. I'm not sure who they play. I haven't seen the pairings for that particular event. Do you know who?
Well, they're
they're playing?
not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I did, but there's Scottsburg's in there, Hanover at Southwestern's in, Shelby's in there, Columbus East used to be in there, so it's Austin.
Always
was in
very
there.
competitive.
It's a good.
Yes.
Fishers comes down, so it's a good tournament.
I know Michael Thompson always looks forward to it.
Yeah.
He's glad that the Lady Spartans are involved in it. Conroe's will be hosting the Spartan Wrestling Classic at Spartan Bowl on Friday and Saturday, December 29th and 30th. There are 32 teams coming to be entered in that. Following the Christmas break, the Spartan Swimmers will be meeting in Mount Vernon on January the 2nd at 5:30 at the CHS pool. On the 3rd of January, on Wednesday, the wrestling team will be taking on Richmond in the CHS gym at 6. Thursday, January the 4th, the boys freshman basketball team plays at Batesville at 6 o'clock. On Friday, January the 5th, boys basketball is Greensburg at Spartan Bowl, and the girls basketball team travels to Columbus East. On Saturday, January the 6th, boys basketball at Newcastle. Brent, that ball game on the 5th with Greensburg should go a long way in settling the conference, because Greensburg is 2-0 and the Spartans are 2-0. So that should be quite a ball game.
The last 2 or 3 years, it's been a good contest. So, and playing at third place on their court, it's always a tough place to play. And Stacy will have their guys ready to play. So
Greensburg is 6-0, 7-0, and the Spartans are 6-1. So they're good seasons.
yeah, and anytime you can beat somebody on their home court, it's a good win. So hopefully we'll be. I know Carrie will have them ready to play. Hopefully we'll get a good win on Friday night, and then be able to travel and play Newcastle on Saturday and
Yeah.
sneak another one out. So a good 2 road wins in a row on that weekend.
There are no events this week at the middle school. The boys' red team will take part in the St. Louis Invitational at Batesville on Wednesday, December 27th. On Tuesday, January the 2nd, the girls' white basketball team opens its season at Cambridge City, Lincoln at 6 o'clock. So the girls don't play until after the first of the year in basketball at the middle school.
No, they start after New Year's all the time, and I'm not
Yes.
sure why it's backwards compared to when the girls start here and the boys it's flip-flop in the middle school. So I've always wondered why the middle school boys start before the middle school girls when the high school girls start before the high school boys. But just how the calendars
Just
have
one
been
of those
set up,
things.
so.
In the area of basketball, hear how the girls' teams are doing. Cambridge City is 4-6. In their last game, they won at Union City. Their next game at Eastern Hancock on Tuesday. Union County is 5-7. They lost at Winchester. They'll be at Lawrenceburg on Wednesday. Franklin County is 6-5. They lost to Batesville at Columbus East on Friday. Richmond is 7-3. They won over Indianapolis Arsenal Tech, and they go to Lawrenceburg on Friday. Rushville is 5-7. They lost to Lawrenceburg. They'll be at North Decatur Tuesday. Centerville is 4-8. They lost at Hagerstown, home to Blue River on Tuesday. The Spartans lost, as we mentioned, to South Dearborn. They're home to now Northeastern on Tuesday. So boys area basketball. Rushville is 2-5. They lost to Mount Vernon. They'll be at Columbus North Wednesday. Union County 4-1. They won at Winchester. They'll be at Batesville Tuesday. Union County has won 4 straight ball games after losing here at Spartan Bowl in the opener, so they're doing well.
Yeah, I thought it would be a little bit more competitive game on the opening night because I thought they have a pretty good squad. So
Yes,
we
they
just
do.
got on them early and it just stayed that way. So.
Well, you took the crowd out of the game. I think that's a big factor in any game. You take the home crowd out.
Well, with our crowd, you better be loud if you're coming here because our crowd is good and loud right now. So they were into it Saturday night against the
they
Red
were.
Devils. It was loud. So.
That's good.
Franklin County is 4-3. They lost to Greensburg. They'll be in the Indianapolis Roncalli Tourney on Saturday. Centerville is 2-5. They lost to National Trails, Ohio. They'll be in a tourney at Lawrenceburg December 29th and 30th. Cambridge City is 2-3. They lost to Eastern Hancock. They'll be at Randolph Southern on Tuesday. Richmond, mentioned, is 1-5. They lost to the Spartans. They play at Monroe Central on Wednesday. Spartans are 6-1. They won over Richmond, playing Greenfield Central Tuesday. Greenfield is 2-3 with wins over Perry Meridian and Yorktown and losses to Beech Grove, Westfield, and New Palestine. So that's it. Do you know anything to add to that?
No, not currently.
Sam, you have anything?
No,
to add
it's
to
just
that?
we're going to take a little break from basketball as you are, and of course we'll have radio tomorrow night, but we won't be back until January the 5th.
Yeah, right. It'll be here before you know it.
There'll be some tournaments, and if you like girls basketball, I encourage people to go down to Rumble on the River down at Madison and Hanover, and then boys basketball, go to Richmond and take in the wedding tournament. So a lot of good basketball going on.
Right. Did you girls, both of you are cheerleaders, or are you
Just me.
Just you?
Yeah, I'm not.
What do you think of the Spartans this year?
I think they're doing pretty good.
You want to say any more about them? I mean,
Is that a lot of fun going and cheering for those games, though, when we have those big crowds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. How is it to get the crowd into it, as far as you're concerned, to get them to cheer with you? Is that, you have any trouble doing that? Or?
Depends on the game.
Sometimes old people like to sit on their hands.
Talked about the conference, Eastern Indiana Athletic Conference. In the boys, we mentioned Greensburg and Spartans are both 2-0. Franklin County is 2-1. Lawrenceburg is 1-2. Rushville's 1-2. East Central has yet to play a conference game. Batesville is 0-1, and South Dearborn is 0-2. Have the boys on top, and with Greensburg, fortunately the girls aren't as fortunate. They're 0-4, and they are at the bottom of the girls' rankings in the conference. So they have 3 games to go yet.
Correct.
Right. But and in Lawrenceburg is 4-0, and Greensburg are 4-0. So they're leading the conference in the girls' side of the Eastern EIAC. So it's a good season so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's always room for improvement here.
Well, I guess, right. Yeah, that's what the coach keeps saying. I mean,
in all sports, no matter how
Yes.
what your record is, you always got a chance to improve. But overall, wrestlers are getting on their way, and as I said earlier, they're young, and swimmers have been doing well. They got second in their relays last week, and
good.
so hopefully we'll continue to move up.
Right. Right.
I want to ask these girls what they plan to do after high school. Go to college?
Yeah, that's my plan. I'll
Yeah.
probably just go to IUEast and maybe major in business or something like that.
Good.
Not really
Good.
sure yet, but
Great. And you?
I have no idea at this point.
You want to go on to college, or?
Yeah, I'll probably go to
So-
college for business.
Okay,
as well.
that's good. But, people are businesses are booming, and they're looking for people that have some business education. I know.
Allie, don't you have a dad that's in the sports business?
Yes,
And he is
the baseball coach.
head coach of the baseball Spartans. Very good. Does he talk baseball much at home?
All the time.
I bet he does.
See, hoping for a good season come spring?
Yes.
Good, good. Brent, what can you tell us about the baseball team?
Well, they're doing workouts right now, so getting ready and getting prepared, trying to keep their arms in shape and
Okay.
getting their bats swinging. And Whitney's not on the gymnastics team; she's also a member of the track team. So
yep.
Okay, so she'll be busy come spring.
from now to the end of school year, she ought to be somewhere practicing or in the meet.
We have some new facilities at CHS, but they are not for varsity baseball, are they, yet?
Well, we built a new press box concession stand out by the soccer softball field last year, and then this year we put in a new softball field. It won't quite be ready to play this spring because of the growth of the grass won't be mature enough, but we're working on upgrading our facilities and giving our kids the best things that they can play on, so hopefully they're appreciative of it.
Oh, I'm sure they are, right, but so the baseball team will be using the field that they
Yeah,
have been
baseball will
using?
still be
Yes.
on their own,
Okay.
where they always play. So
All right. Do you have any conference or anything coming to Connersville and Batesville, or in baseball?
conference, you just play home and home. We play we'll open up with a couple games over spring break, and then we'll play Batesville at our place on Monday, and then we'll travel and play Batesville on Thursday at their place this year. So
Okay.
we don't actually get to host any conference tournaments this year. We're out of the loop for this year. So
Okay. We want to thank our guests, Whitney Owens and Allie Sargent, who are members of the gymnastics team at CHS. And as always, Brent, we want to thank you for joining us and bringing the 2 young ladies with you.
we're all glad to be here. I'm sure they're happy to be here as well.
Yes, thank
I know
you
for
having
speaking
us.
for all of us, I know and wish our viewers a very happy holiday, and we'll be back with another Spartans Report soon.
Yes, we will.
Good night, everybody.